This video will show you examples on how to solve one-step simple inequalities. Alright, our first example is x minus 3 is greater than 9. We're going to solve this and graph the answer. So, to solve one-step inequalities, it's very similar to solving equations. So, if we have a subtraction, we undo subtraction by doing addition. So here, because I have a minus 3, we do plus 3, okay, to both sides. And we are doing this, we're going to undo the subtraction so that x will be left alone in one side. And that's our goal, to isolate this variable in one side. So now we put a line. So negative 3 plus 3 will be 0. All right. So that means in this side, we only have the x. And then we drop down the symbol. And then 9 plus 3 is a positive 12. So this is our answer. X is greater than 12. And now we graph this answer. So we make the number line. Let's say this is 0. Let's approximate. Let's say this is 12. Okay. Remember that guide. If you have a greater than, it means an open circle, a number 12. And then since it's pointing to the right, so we make a ray to the right. So this is your graph. All right, our next example is x plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 2. As I have said, solving one-step inequalities is very similar to solving equations. So if you have addition, plus 4, you undo addition by doing a subtraction. So we do minus 4. If you do it on one side, you do it on the other side of the inequality symbol. All right, now a positive 4 and a minus 4 will be a 0, so that will be crossed out. So you have only x in one side, in this side, and then bring down the symbol. And then negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. So x is less than or equal to negative 6. Now we make the graph. So we draw the number line again. And then we plot the 0. We look for negative 6. Let's say negative 6 is somewhere here. Negative 6. And now you have to, with this symbol, less than or equal to, it means a closed circle at negative 6. And since it's pointing to the left, so we make a ray to the left. Everything that's less than is to the left. So that's your answer and graph. All right, our third example is 30 greater than or equal to negative 6. All right, so in our previous two examples, I said there that to solve inequalities, it's the same, very similar to solving equations. Now, because this is inequalities, there's another different rule when it comes to division and multiplication. Because see here, we have a multiplication, right? And to undo a multiplication, we divide, right? But there's one thing that you need to remember that is something different. It's when you're dividing with a negative number. So here we will divide by negative 6, right? Negative 6. Negative divide by negative 6. Every time this number here at the bottom is negative, you need to flip the inequality. That's a rule for inequalities. When you're dividing by this negative number, you have to flip this. So this becomes less than or equal to. Okay? So negative 6 by negative 6 will be crossed out. You have x. And then 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5. Okay? So take note of that. Every time this number here is negative, only when it's negative, you have to flip the inequality. All right? So that's our answer. And now we will graph this. If you remember graphing, we have to make sure our variable is in the left side. So because they're not in the right position, so we will flip again because we will graph it. So we have x in here and then negative 5 in here, and then we need to flip again the inequality. All right, so now this will be our the inequality, and we will graph it. So we make the number line, we look for negative 5. Let's say this is negative 5, and greater than or equal symbol means a closed circle at negative 5. Closed circle at negative 5 and goes to the right. So that's our answer. Okay. All right, our next example, we have 2x is greater than or equal to negative 12. And this is 2x means 2 times x. And to undo a multiplication, we will divide it. Divide by positive 2, divide by positive 2. Now take note, the number at the bottom is positive. So that means we do not need to flip this inequality. Okay, we will only flip this inequality when the number here is negative. Right? So we just proceed with the simplification. So we have x in here, because that 2 will be crossed out. Greater than negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. All right. And then because x is already in the left side, we don't need to flip again. So now we will have the graph, we'll graph this answer, -6, and let's say -6 is here. It's, with that symbol, it means an open circle, and it goes to the right. So that's the answer. All right, our final example is x divided by -3 is less than -1. Okay, so we focus here because we have here the variable, and it's division by -3. That means to undo a division is we perform a multiplication. All right, so we just put this in parentheses and then another parenthesis for -3. All right, if we do it in one side, we also have to do it on the other side, -3. We multiply both sides by -3. Now again, remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, we need to flip the inequality. So it's for multiplication and division. So since we multiplied here by a -3, so therefore this inequality will be flipped to a greater than. Okay, and then this -3 will be crossed out in here. So you have x in this side. -1 times -3 is a +3. All right, since x is already in the left side, we don't need to flip it again. So that's our answer. We now plot the graph. So we have, looking at +3, and that symbol there means an open circle. So open circle, and then goes to the right. So that's our answer and graph.